bone health. I'm going to look at yoga and its relationship to bone health, healthy bones, preventing osteoporosis. Okay, so we're going to start sitting and know that strong bones are supported by strong muscles. So the relationship of muscle to bone is what we kind of play with and experiment with and work to keep shored up or build more of when we practice yoga, because you get a nice you get a nice muscle to bone relationship when you practice yoga poses. So you build up, manageable levels of resistance when you push the floor, and you feel manageable relationship of muscle to bone when you contract, when you hold a pose, when you bear weight, essentially, when you bear weight. So when you do a high push-up position and you bear weight in the shoulder joints, in the arms, in the elbows, and the hands, all the musculature that's supporting all your joints in those positions, right, are helping to strengthen your bone and your bone density. And so there are even like studies that have been done around specific poses. Studies are a little bit limited, but they do see increases in bone mineral density with the practice of certain yoga postures that we practice all the time, that are a normal kind of part of any sequence or public class. Typically, we teach them, we practice them a lot, so nothing will be new to you. But maybe just keep in mind the amount of effort you put toward how strong you're working in your muscles, and how that muscle really is just an extension of bone. Bone is an extension of muscle. You can think of them as almost one unit, and rather than as two separate things, right? They work together. So start in a comfortable seat. Let your eyes fall closed. Take a few breaths, just feel into the uprightness of your spine, into the vertical axis of your spine. Just get a feeling for where you're sitting in space, what space you're occupying, how you feel in your body. How your breath feels today, how your breath feels moving in and out through your nose. Feel any specific restriction or impediment? Easy inflow and outflow of your breath. Let's take 3 more. Exhaling, last breath, and then on the exhale, let your eyes fall open. We'll come to all fours from your seat. So move yourself from sitting to your hands and your knees. And as you do, just typically start to move your spine through a few rounds of cow pose and cat pose. So comfortably mobilize the bones, the discs, and the muscles that support your spine. And any sense of tightness in the muscles you feel, kind of relative to just the parts of spinal support that you don't necessarily notice any specific sensation, so everything's kind of fairly loose and doing its job. You might have a spot here and there between the shoulder blades, or a little lower, maybe closer to the lower part of the rib cage spine. Maybe your lower back is tight, is typically a muscular thing, or the result potentially of some structural imbalance somewhere else, or overworking. Exhale, let's take one more cycle of inhale, exhale. And then from neutral spine, all fours, spinal balancing. Okay, so opposite arm and leg, right? One leg back, the other hand forward. And you can do this dynamically, where you're using the breath to lift and then the other breath to lower down. Or you can just come up and hold for another 4 breaths. Feel everything that's keeping you balanced, stable, still, supported. Five breaths, each pair, right? Either moving dynamically or you just hold the extended arm and leg. So switch when you're ready. The push of your hand that's on the floor. Press a little more firmly and feel that light up the whole arm. Can you feel that all the way into shoulder? Five breaths and then you're down, and then a high push-up position, right? So we practice this a lot. And you can practice this really any way you want to, and you have lots and lots of options. You can come in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, or just come up and hold it, or go to the wall and hold it, or be on your forearms and hold it. 10 breaths. You can be on your knees and hold it, or you can come in and out. Ten breaths when you're ready to come down, knees wide, hips to your heels, child's pose. Arms down alongside you, arms over the tops of your knees, around the fronts of your knees. Take 2 more breaths in child's pose. Good. And then you're back up onto all fours, right? So that high push-up position, right, really just an all-around universal, one of the best things you can do for your body to support the ability to just bear some weight in your bones, and also to emphasize what's happening in your core so that the hips don't drop, right? The lower back doesn't over flex. You don't over flex in your lumbar spine. You have to keep this lifted up. And the longer you hold it, right, the more you're just building and building and building and building strength around those joints, right? So let's come into downward facing dog. We're going to take 10 breaths in downward facing dog. So give yourself a nice, strong push up into the pose. And then from there, right, again, so many options, so many ways to be in the pose, so many ways to think about being in the pose. So many things to feel. You can go wider if you like to go wider. You can move if you like to move. And so we're obviously a little more upside down in downward facing dog. Extended arms, extended shoulders, open armpits, broad chest. The spine upside down. So the spine, gravity giving your spine a little bit of traction. So, and you might always feel a lot happening in your arms. You might tend to feel a lot of the work is happening from your palms upward into arms and upper arms and shoulders and upper back. So make your legs work a little more. And push one heel. Maybe try to lower both heels a little bit more without tucking the pelvis. Keeping a little bend in the knees so you can keep lifting your sit bones, but drop your heels. Firm the fronts of your legs. So you feel even just a tiny little bit of like a tremor, a little shake, a little bit of shaking, vibratory work in your muscles. Another couple of breaths. If you've done 10 breaths and you were counting your breaths and you're ready to come down, of course you can. I stopped counting. You can't count inside and talk at the same time. And then when you're ready to come out, we'll just bring the feet a little forward. Come to a half forward fold. Hands to fronts of shins, press, take 5 breaths. Right, and so here it's about creating length in the spine, but feeling a really strong press of your hands against your shins. So you really want to feel some work, maybe in triceps or the tops of your shoulders. You might feel a little firmness down in the forearm muscles. Press or resist. Take one more breath in. And out, and then fold into full forward fold Uttanasana. Two more breaths. Nice, so we'll come up to stand, use inhale, bring yourself all the way up to stand, bring mountain pose. Here, take mountain pose, 2 or 3 breaths, 4 breaths in mountain pose. So just stand at attention. Feel your feet in the floor, feel the firmness in your legs, spread your toes, balls of your feet spread wide. Pressing the backs of the thighs, inner edges of the backs of your thighs a little more back. Can you do that without locking your knees or kind of jamming the knees back? Just turn the thigh bones. And there's this kind of, arms right next to you. It sort of feels a little military, feels a little bit soldiery, right? Hold your arms really firmly next to your sides. So you feel this kind of pressure inward toward your midline. Good. We'll do 3 rounds of chair pose from there. Utkatasana, chair pose. Feet can be apart, hips distance apart with your feet, or your feet can be right up next to each other, right? And we start with arms overhead, arms raised in Urdhva Hastasana. And then we just fold at the ankles, fold at the knees, fold at the hips. 5 breaths. Go ahead, reach up through your fingertips, reach back through your thumbs. And then push through your feet, come all the way up. Lower your arms. Mountain pose, Tadasana, take a breath or 2. And then chair pose again. Inhale up. Exhale, sit. If you can take your biceps, take your upper arms out of your peripheral vision, reach back more. Push through your feet, straighten your knees, come all the way up. Take another breath. We'll do one more. Inhale, arms up overhead. And then the tension in chair pose is in taking your hips back, your spine wants to come forward. You want to be comfortable in the low back. Shoulders a little forward. And then you're trying to maintain all the lift of this weight. Dropping into your thighs. The arms want to fall forward. Keep taking the arms more out and up. And thumbs more back. Beautiful strength building for your shoulders, right? So the more you keep taking the arm back and back and back and back, extension, but you feel all the work, flexion in the strong back of your shoulder. Take a breath. While you turn sideways, long edge of your mat, and then a nice wide stance, right? Go as wide as you are comfortable going between your 2 feet. Distance between left foot, right foot. And then drop your front knee. Drop your seat into warrior 2. Five more breaths. Where do you feel most of the work of the pose in your body? Yeah, slowly lower. Take your time. Move out into the opposite direction, opposite foot forward, turned out, right, left heel turned back. And then find a seat on this side, right? Does it feel different from one side to the other? I have a much stronger left thigh, left hip. So this side is always a little more of a challenge strength-wise in this leg, right? It could be very normal. It's a very normal little imbalance, little structural imbalances create that differential. The way you carry yourself through the world as a right-handed or left-handed person has an impact. Oh, can I just build up a little more strength, a little more support in this nominally weaker thigh? I have to sit a little bit lower. I have to bear more tension. I have to let this leg work a little more, even though it doesn't really want to. 2 more breaths. Long holds, strong holds, slow, strong. Let's go back to the first position with your feet to take extended side angle pose. Same breaths, same 10 breaths. And right, this is always your first option, is to bring elbow to knee. You're supporting, letting some of your body weight just be supported by this arm. Or you can drop the hand down, grab your ankle or grab your shin or put your hand on a block. Strong extension through the top arm, anchor your right foot. Recommit to your right foot. One more breath. Switch, reestablish your breath, come back into your breath. Second side, Utthita Parshva Konasana, extended side angle pose. Breathe, hold, breathe, hold. 3 more breaths. Slowly release the pose, come on. Triangle pose. Take any kind of break that you need to in between the 2 sides, in between one pose and the next pose. Triangle pose again for 10 breaths. Maybe triangle pose at this point will feel like a little bit of a break. 2 extended legs in the pose versus that one front leg bearing a whole lot of the weight load, the work load, the effort load. I'll get a nice twist in the spine. Two more breaths. Come up simultaneously, push through left foot, reach through right arm. All right, we'll go second side. Good, strong navel to spine. Pull in the navel toward the spine as you breathe out. Strong outer hip Engagement out here, along here. Really anchor that back foot. Can you lift the inner arch of your back foot? Stay spread wide across the balls of both feet. Can you lift your toes? You just stand in the heels and the balls of your feet and lift your toes and then set your toes back down. 3 more breaths. On an inhale, right foot push, left arm lift. Can you try those things together? So you resist with the front foot and you reach back and kind of pull yourself back up through that back arm. Come in just a little closer, still stay wide so you can forward fold between wide legs. With the toes facing the long edge of your mat. Take 5 breaths. Good. Hands to hips. Lift through the upper back. Come all the way back up. Take 5 breaths on each leg in tree pose. Okay, in any supported version of tree pose. If you like to just be close to the wall, so you have it if you need it. Or in the middle of your mat. Five breaths each leg. Switch when you're ready to switch. Okay, and then downward facing dog. 5 breaths in downward facing dog. One more breath. A longer extension through both elbows. Push both palms. Feel all of each of your palms. And then shift forward high, push-up position. Take a breath in. Exhale, come down. Point your toes back. Extend your arms long by your sides. Press the tops of your feet into the floor. Spread your toes. Feel your toenails press down, lift your knees, and then breathe in, lift arms, lift chest. Gaze slightly downward, but reach out through the crown of your head. 5 breaths, hold. Exhale, one cheek to the floor, shoulders down. Your hands come to rest, relax your feet. You might feel your heart beating. I'm gonna take the arms overhead, same pose, right? So you could do this, you could just do the same thing we just did, arms down alongside you, right? Arms overhead, just like in chair pose. We have to lift the arm, so you're gonna feel the work again here, right? Resisting gravity, keeping your arms in the air by using your shoulders. Any amount, can just be a half an inch off the floor. But try arms overhead, anchor your feet to the floor. Lift your shins, lift your knees. Hold your legs firm, lift your head, and then maybe lift left arm and lift right arm. Hold. One more breath. Arms down alongside, one cheek to the floor. Good. Bring palms next to your chest. Press to come up. Come onto your back. Bring yourself down onto your back. Bridge pose. Find your way onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest first. Okay, bridge pose here. Any variation, okay, and let's do two, a round of 2 for 5 breaths each. Any variation you like. If you want to do them both with support of a block, you can do it that way. You could hold the block between your knees. You could take your arms out overhead, you could move up and down, in and out with your breath, or you could just hold arms down alongside you or under you. Come down, 5 breaths, and then come down. Pause, feel what there is to feel. And then again, just another 5 breaths, any variation. So I have taken out, I've removed the support of my arms, I'm not really using shoulders or arms, so I have to use more hips, glutes, legs, press the feet. One more breath. Inhale, set everything back down on the floor, extend both legs, relax both feet, take another breath or 2. And then bring both knees back in, knees to chest, knees wide, reach through, bring the soles of your feet together. pull your feet toward you. You feel like a little rock from side to side. You could do that. You could turn this into happy baby pose really easily. Good, and then let's turn that into a reclined twist. Okay, so arms wide to either side. If you want to cross, take left over right, left knee over right knee, drop both knees to the right, or just one knee stacked on the other knee. And then let just everything just fall where it falls. And breathe, breathe big, let go. Now letting go of effort. Another 2 or 3 breaths on this side. And then just gently release, slowly release, bring your knees back in, take the opposite cross, go the other way. Another breath, maybe 2 more breaths. Move your cross, just let the knees slide apart, let the legs slide apart. Come back onto your back, bring your knees into your chest. Take a breath. Take a couple of breaths. Knees gently side to side or in and out, or a little bit of a circle. And then drop both feet. Extend the left leg. Extend right leg. Extend both arms. We're going to pick up both arms, extend, reach, and then drop. Shavasana, 3 minutes. Can you feel awareness? Can you feel consciousness with letting go? The sensation in your body of letting go, of dropping effort all together. Notice the breath become very fine. Take another 2 or 3 breaths here. Inhalation, take a breath in, reach your arms long over your head. Maybe hook your thumbs together, pull up through the upper back, through the backs of your shoulders. Good, and then come from there, shift hips to one side, come over onto the side to rest, take a breath. Press up from there, use arm strength. Hands find the floor, press yourself up using your arm strength. Comfortable seat. Hold your practice here, comfortable seat, arms overhead, palms touch, let your palms come to your heart. Hold your practice here. Honor all of the many gifts and benefits of your practice as you realize them in the hours, days to come until you return. Namaste. Thanks for your time, ladies. Enjoy the rest of your evening.